ABC, Mark here at Twanger's Turntable. I hope you can hear me okay. Back to using the internal speaker on my iPad. I picked up these little wireless microphones and the receiver, which worked fine on my Android unit phone, but evidently not so much on my Apple iPad. So hopefully you can hear me all right. Just wanted to chime in on a contest over at Michael's channel, Poetry on Plastic. His celebration for 10,000 subscribers. He's actually well beyond that now. I think the contest began a couple of weeks ago, several weeks ago, in fact. And honestly, I don't know how well equipped I am for all the questions that he wanted. Was part of the contest. The criteria to enter the contest is what I'm trying to spit out here. Lost for words. But I'll give it a go because I am not a huge classical guy. Don't have hardly any, and that I do have a couple though, fortunately, that I've kind of just inherited through family members. And I have subscribed. That's one of the criteria. I've got the criteria right in front of me here on my little phone. Show a classical record. If you don't have a classical record, show something with an orchestral arrangement. Okay, well, I'll defer to you to what is. I've got several here I pulled out, and I have to be completely transparent, and I have not listened to any of these, but I do have them. So I'm not even going to try and pronounce some of them, because seriously, this is not my thing. But this Symphony number 9, I do have on vinyl. I guess it's Ludwig van Beethoven. Again, not my thing, so I'm winging it here. I've also got Tchaikovsky 1812 Overture. Still got a sticker on there from a bargain bin, but I actually got them from, like I say, from a family member. They not vinyl that I purchased personally. So I know Michael, you asked to show one, but since I've only got a few, and I don't know which one would fall under the criteria you're requesting, but I've got a few here. Beethoven, Wellington's Victory, Tchaikovsky 1812 Overture. Again, don't know much about this stuff. It's just stuff that I have. Another Tchaikovsky, so wow. And surprisingly, I did take some of them out of the sleeve, and they're in really good condition by my estimation. And again, just visually, haven't played them. So, great performances. Back in there. Another one. This looks like a double. It's a gatefold for sure. The Greatest Hits album. This is probably stuff that you're familiar with, or some of your audience for sure, but not really up my alley. I was sitting down here going through these with my wife, and they are ones that I think we have to go and just put them on and check them out, because I'm not opposed to it. I do like it. It's kind of background music, but what is this one? Mozart Symphonies 40 and 41 Jupiter. Yeah, can't tell you much about any of these. And then the next part of the criteria: show the heaviest sounding album you own. So I own, this is fairly subjective, obviously, what one considers heavy. I own a lot of metal, hard rock. But having said that, like Megadeth, Anthrax, Metallica, Sabbath, Maiden, all that. Having said that, probably the heaviest one I own is this one right here. I just picked it up probably in the last year or so. Last year, I guess it would have been. It's actually Mr. Bungle. It's really heavy. So essentially, to those who are uninitiated, this is Mike Patton from Faith No More, Trey Sprance, Trevor Dunn, Dave Lombardo, and Scott Ian. And this is a project they did, and it is super heavy. It's kind of, I think it's exactly what you would expect if you know anything about these guys. But it is definitely heavy. The Raging Wrath of the Easter Bunny Demos. And I picked this up. It's one of those smoking deals, and I'd heard it through another community I belong to, just a record sharing, mostly metal, and it was recommended, and I picked it up. Of course, I know all the dudes in there and the bands I just mentioned, right? So really good, and but really heavy. It is really heavy. So there's that. The next criteria was show an artist or group you got into primarily because of vinyl record collecting. So I mentioned this before when I was showing this in the debuts of my collection, a band that I'd only heard of due to my checking out other channels in the BC community. I think it was Sea of Tranquility, actually, or maybe Martin Popoff, or one of those gentlemen who have a vast knowledge of hard rock, classic rock, metal. And this is one of those albums, and they're actually from Canada here. And it's a band called Lynx. And this is their debut, Missing Links. The band consisted of Mike Schwartz, lead vocal, Rob Schwartz, lead guitar. They were brothers. Bob Walker on bass, Tony Caputo on keyboard, and Rick Haberman on drums. And like I say, they were from Canada, where I reside. But I hadn't heard of them until my dive into the vinyl community and collecting vinyl. But it's really good. As I alluded to in my debuts of my collection episode, where I had that record on display, they were often compared to the Kiss of Canada, of the North, and I think it's a fair comparison. It's that type of hard rock, classic rock sound. But yeah, that one is due to my primarily because of the vinyl record collecting and the vinyl community in general. The next criteria is show a foreign and or non-English record, bonus points for an import pressing. Well, this is not an import, and in fact, I think it may not even qualify. I guess I'll leave that to your discretion, Michael. It's your contest. But it's only half. Half of it is English, in fact, so maybe I'm cheating a little. But it's German, Nina, 99 Luftballons from 1984. And this pressing, actually, the reason it's not entirely of another language is side one is indeed English, but the opposite side, side two, is German. So that's the closest I can get. It's really the only vinyl I have that's not English. I really wanted to present something obscure like a soundtrack to the Sims video game or whatnot. I don't know if that could be considered a language, but it wouldn't be English. But that's the best I could do for that criteria in the contest. So I'm not really into it for the prizes or anything like that. I just really wanted to enter the contest and shout out. I mean, amazing, 10,000 subscribers. And I think that's within a couple of years, or I don't even know how long you've been on here, Michael, to be honest. The last part of it was, no, not the last part, second last, number 5. Show a CD, tape, digital download of an album that needs to be pressed on vinyl. Well, there's one for sure, and it's a debut from Chevelle. Point number 1, and that's never been on vinyl. To my knowledge, I did do a little research, not in depth, couldn't find any listing on Discogs for this on vinyl, but it's a really heavy, I mean, hard rock heavy. Those that are familiar with Chevelle will know. And when they released this, they had a lot of comparisons with made of Tool, and rightfully so. Again, similar to the Lynx being compared to Kiss, especially on this album. They really do have that sound, very Tool sound, Maynard, the vocals. But that, to my knowledge, has never been released on vinyl, and I would like it on vinyl. But another one that was originally released on vinyl but desperately needs a reissue. It's an often overlooked, maybe not so much in the vinyl community, but or the metal community, but definitely the release with Ian Gillan, Deep Purple, was the vocalist on this for Black Sabbath, Born Again. And it's actually one of my favorites. This is actually a pretty heavy album, for those who have not heard it. Tony Iommi, Geezer Butler, Ian Gillan, Bill Ward, of course the three original members of Sabbath, with Gillan on vocals and not Dio or Ozzy. Probably not telling very many people something they don't know by now. But I would really love a reissue of that. And I had read an article last year of Tony Iommi suggesting that it may be in the works. Fingers crossed. I really want that one on vinyl. And of course, as I alluded to, it is available, the original pressing of '83. I see it on Discogs, but primarily this one, the Chevelle #1. That's my entry for one that I really would like to see pressed on vinyl. And the last criteria, letter to the editor. Pick one of your musical or gear takes to editorialize on. Now, I don't know how much of that I can do. I've only seen a few of your videos. I guess if I was going to pick something, it would be, I think it was from 3 or 4 years ago, your gear that you were showing, your gear, and I don't know. I mean, it's definitely of audiophile variety. Of course, this is all subjective to one's own gear. I have what I consider entry-level gear, but definitely all that I really want. It's just to listen to my vinyl on. It's great. But to your question, just about your gear, it was blown away. Like, wow, I've seen a lot of gear on the vinyl community, and of course, what I did see that you were showing was pretty awesome. The one thing I did have in common was, I think yours were a little higher end than this, and they may have even been wireless, but the Sennheiser headphones, totally on board with that. I think they're amazing headphones, and these are really good. In fact, there's some stuff that I think it's necessary to listen to with headphones, I should say. But that's really all I can put together for this contest. I don't have a lot of classical, and I don't have a lot of opinion as far as others' gears and taste and listening, whatnot goes. It's to each their own kind of thing. But congratulations on 10,000 subs. That, like I say, that's totally amazing. And yeah, not in it for the prizes or whatsoever. Just really wanted to acknowledge others in the VC and their accomplishments, and that's definitely a huge one. So good luck going forward. Thanks for watching, everybody. Hit the like if you liked it, subbed, subscribe, leave a comment about any of these things, especially the classical. Like I say, I don't know anything about it. The ones that I presented, are they considered the cream of the crop, or where would they be rated in terms of classical music? Because I know nothing about it. I'm definitely going to check them out now that I've pulled them out and see what it's all about. That's it. I'll leave it at that. Take care, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll see you again next time. I'm going to do a couple more of these contests when I get a chance. So, yeah, cheers, everyone. Take care.